Hi, I'm Nancy Chanteau, and I'm making a video today about cooperative communication. Cooperative communication is a class I designed to help people learn the Skills for Change tools for communication. I called it a cooperative communication class because in Skills for Change, we're really oriented around teaching people how to cooperate, which means that what we're doing is we're working together by asking for 100% of what we want and negotiating agreements, as opposed to power playing each other either via rescue, which is where we do more than our share, more than we want to do, out of desperation or scarcity or danger, or we end up power playing, making somebody do something they don't want to do, or keeping them from doing something they want to do, um, because we need to take unilateral action for some reason. These kinds of power plays, um, most of the time people aren't thinking, I'm going to power play somebody, I'm going to manipulate somebody, I'm going to control somebody, but we end up doing power plays to try and control our own experience. And when we're cooperating, what we're doing is recognizing that the work that we need to do in communication is to share what we want and then talk to other people about that. That doesn't mean that we have to do what other people want or that we are forced into consensus. If we can't figure out a solution, we can agree to take unilateral action. We can agree to take care of ourselves. Um, the difference with cooperation is that we've had a conversation about it. We've negotiated instead of doing all of the call it an internal calculus, doing the work in our heads. A big part of cooperative communication is that inside of ourselves we will need to do some work with our thoughts and stories and feelings about what happens to us in our relationships before we talk about it. So if we learn how to communicate effectively, but what our stories are telling us is what I call a self-centric story, a story that is focused on us and oriented around our worldview and our experience without taking other people into account, we're going to end up airing out our internal stories with each other, but that doesn't necessarily make for good communication. So what we want to do is get to the point where we can analyze power, where we fought enough of our internalized oppression, our shame, and our blame responses to our life circumstances, that we're able to communicate just observable facts, our feelings about what happened, and then in our story we can tell why we think somebody else did what they did. Communicating like that about conflicts or differences produces a really different result if we've made sure that our story is taking into account other people rather than just focusing on ourselves. And that's just as big a part of the communication work as learning how to follow a communication format. Actually, the communication format doesn't help if the work internally hasn't been done successfully or effectively. And then finally, once we've learned how to clean up our internal stories about what's going on with us, our communication with other people so that we're asking for 100% of what we want and negotiating, we're sharing our held feelings and stories, and then asking for 100% of what we want and making new agreements. Then finally, we'll talk more about power and how power affects our relationships. How we can analyze power so that we can be more effective in the conversations that we're having. We can be more effective in imagining how other people are experiencing their circumstances. That ability to tell what I call an other-centric story, to analyze the power and then to reflect that in our communication, takes our communication to another level. So the class is going to be taught over a year. What I found was that there was so much material trying to teach the class in a month that it felt like everybody was drinking out of a fire hose. When I put it into a weekly format, it was 13 weeks of material, and I just thought that would feel like a lot for people to sign up for 13 weeks, which would be like 3 months of weekly courses. So I decided to do 13 months instead. Give you basically a week's worth of material, but you get a month to work with it. And that seems like a good pace, because a lot of the time when we're learning these skills, the application in our lives is where we actually get a lot of benefit. The online classroom environment we'll have a lot of support for people. You'll be able to have conversations with each other. If we have people wanting to have a buddy or a small group learning experience, we can do that in a month-long format. And I'm also offering a tiered learning model this time where participants can sign up for the class and also get some additional coaching one-on-one to support them in their learning. So that would be the top tier, and then lower tiers would take away the individual coaching and just have the classroom participation be the course. So if you're interested in cooperative communication, you can click the link below. You can come to my website, www.nancyshanteau.com. And finally, I'm making a bangin' deal on my Patreon. If you would like to participate in any of my online courses, there's an unlimited pledge level. If you pledge $50 a month, $50 a thing, and you can limit it to once a month, then you can have unlimited access to my courses. So I'm hoping that you find a way to participate and let me know what it is that you'd be interested in learning around cooperative communication. This class will mostly be focusing on interpersonal relationships, though if you're interested in business, I could certainly address business communication as well, and we could create a supplemental call or a conversation for applying the principles to business. So if you've ever had conversations that keep you up at night, difficulty communicating, wishing that you felt more heard and understood, this is the class for you. Cooperative communication will teach you how to cooperate and teach you how to communicate in a cooperative manner, and it will provide you with the tools that you need in order to have much more peaceful relations with the people that you love and the people in your life, the people in your community, the people that you're trying to do important things with. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and otherwise, have a fabulous and fantastic day.